Hello, friends, and welcome to Not Just a Girl, the tattoo podcast where every week I give you a glimpse into the lives and art practice of some of my favourite people in tattooing. I'm Eddy, and for the third episode of Not Just a Girl, we'll be discussing keeping busy in lockdown, tattoo conventions, and Harry Potter fandom. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are the traditional custodians of this land that was stolen and never ceded. I am honoured to be on the ancestral land of the Awabakal people. I pay my respect to their elders, past and present, and extend my recognition to their descendants. Our guest today is the wonderful Jennifer Edge, all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She is the co-owner of Mainline Ink and known for her colourful watercolour and abstract tattoos. She's also the mastermind behind my favourite convention, Literary Ink. I had the great pleasure of meeting Jen last year when I attended the convention for the first time, and I've honestly never felt more welcome at a tattoo event than I did there. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be here. It's always so good to chat to you. How are you doing?
I'm great. I appreciate you asking me on the show, and thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoyed our show, Literary Ink, because it is one of my favorite things to do.
It's honestly so good. It's funny because I was thinking about doing this podcast for a little while, but I was a bit scared because I have no idea what I'm doing. But when I got to be on your podcast, your Literary Ink podcast a few weeks back, that was so much fun. It really gave me the kick I needed to do this. So thank you for inspiring me.
You're welcome, and I still don't know what I'm doing. I have help. But it is something, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you jumped on board. A lot of the creatives right now, with us being stuck at home, it's becoming a chance to see what outlets we are wanting to try. I want to dabble in this. I want to dip over there in that. Let me see how colorful this can be. I'm going to totally do my work backwards of what I normally do. I think it's been awesome to see everybody kind of rising up in their areas and just testing out the waters and just, I don't know, not even really testing, just like full on belly flopping in there. It's been great.
Absolutely. Well, I mentioned before that you're the creator of Literary Ink, which for our listeners is a Harry Potter themed convention. How did that come about, and how did you make it so big?
As for the making it big, that was liquid luck. I drank it right before the convention, and that's what happened there. Actually, how it came about, the real story behind it was my business partner and I, Danny Civiter, he's the other co-owner of Mainline. We were talking about possibly doing a convention, and I started talking about theming a convention. And then at the same time, I was wanting to get tattooed by one particular person, and he never really came near the East Coast, and I was afraid of flying at the time. But in the past 2.5 years, because of Literary Ink and because of Explore Tattoo Conference, my happy butt has been on several planes. So I got over that real quick. But I wanted to get tattooed by Jonathan Pinchoff, which on Instagram is Earth Grasper.
Yeah.
And he is one of the biggest Harry Potter fans out there. And I was like, how do we get him here? How do we talk him? Oh my gosh, we have to have a Harry Potter themed tattoo convention. Just kidding, y'all. It's wizardry. Please, Warner Brothers and J.K. Rowling, they don't endorse us. Don't come sue me. It's a wizardry tattoo convention. But yes, that was at the beginning. That was my goal. I'm going to make this show that's the Harry Potter theme, just so I can get this guy to come tattoo me, so I don't have to fly to him.
You started a convention
the story behind it,
just to get tattooed.
Well, and then the other thought is, if the convention worked out well, you could get tattooed by all your favorites. So it's all good. But that was kind of what started it. And I jumped in, I belly flopped. I was just like, oh, it's only going to cost this much. This isn't that big of a deal. No. It was a little different, a little more than I expected. But as for how it grew, the first year we were really lucky. with that being said, you say Harry Potter theme, people get excited, which is awesome. And that's what we were looking for. We had gotten a very, very small hotel, which was kind of the biggest hotel space we could get for everybody, but there were only like 50 booths. So we didn't think, we were just like telling Danny, I'm like, maybe 20 people will sign up and come. It'll be okay. But a few people noticed it. The diehard Harry Potter fans got involved and they showed up, and a lot of them just were really, big name folks, and a lot of folks were just really awesome, huge Harry Potter fans. And it was just an eclectic mix of really different folks, and it was just really awesome.
The Harry Potter fans are definitely a separate kind of people. Like, we are the ultimate nerds, I think.
I agree with you, because most Harry Potter fans are both, they've watched the movies, they've watched the books, they do have their favorites. They have their favorite movie, they have their favorite book, they have how they like to watch them, how, one thing I love watching them during Christmas. They always, most of the time, came out around there. So that's kind of embedded in my brain. It's one of those fandoms that she just did so well. She did well, not so much sometimes on what she says on Twitter, but she did well with showing you how to get through crisis, how to get through being alone, how to get through, all of us get bullied, like everybody, even the bully gets bullied, and how you choose to live your life. I guess I feel like she kind of she brought out a good Luke Skywalker character. We hadn't had one of those in a minute. Just, I'm going to do good for the sake of doing good.
Yeah, I think the fandom's really taken the concepts behind it and ran with it and made it something else. Like, I think she's not even relevant in it anymore in a little bit. Like, we've just made it this whole wonderful universe of accepting and loving and like kindness and community.
And dirty with some of that fan fiction that's out there. I've heard about you guys. Mm-hmm. There's some crazy shit out there. Okay, I've read some of it. Not much.
Well, like, talking about, like, I guess the themes of Harry Potter, like, I found, that whole idea of, like, love and kindness, like, friendship and stuff, that carried across into the convention, because it was hands down the most inclusive convention I've ever attended. And, like, what stood out to me was how welcome everyone seemed to feel, and I certainly felt incredibly welcome. And I also didn't feel like objectified, or I didn't feel like as a woman I was separate as I have felt at other conventions. Like, was that a part of your goal, or is that just something that came about because of who you
are? Another fun story, and to just throw out there, we got our first 30 people in after the first year. Like, we opened up the first year, we've sent out all these invitations, and we got our first 30 people in, and my wife was like, do you see what's happening? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, they're all Hufflepuffs. And Jessica goes, no, they're all women. And it kind of hit me a little then. I think sometimes it still strikes me as holy cow, but our convention is about 70 to 80% women. And our tattoo industry as a whole is 80% men, so 20% women. So it wasn't intentional in the beginning, but it's a theme that has carried on and carried over. Women are the first people to sign up. I mean, every time we've sent out the invites, and just that's no kidding. Like, everybody's on board. They are getting their seat, and that's been a big part of it. The other thing is, I was at the Explore Tattoo Conference Women's Summit in California this last year, and I was talking to them about their numbers too. And the Women's Summit was open to anyone. Like, 5 guys showed up. And I'm proud to say that one of the guys from my shop was there, and another one would have been, but he just got his wife in town. I only have 2 guys at the shop. But, the support that was going on there, and just seeing kind of what was happening, and, hearing from the presenters there and the owners, women are the first people to buy seats.
Yeah.
It's like right now we're in our industry, and we have a hunger for knowledge. We have a desire to get where we're wanting to go, and we're really pushing forward with that. And, there are a bunch of guys out there who are super awesome, and they're helping facilitate this ride. And I think that's something that's great. And you see them. As for some of the other crazier stuff that's happened in the past, I think those things are being moved now. Everything is being shifted. People are watching.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our allies are understanding the importance of the role they need to play, that they do need to be more vocal and to come forward with their support of marginalized groups. But it's a little sad that there were only 5 men who showed up to the women's summit. We've got things to say too.
I agree.
Oh,
I think there were transgender people who showed up, so I thought that was really awesome too. I mean, they're wanting everything to be open and kind of moving forward. And I think that, at times it's still an interesting industry.
Yeah.
At times it's still, seeing the places where some people think you should be. And I have been very, very lucky. I've heard some crazy stories from women that it never touched me that way. I mean, have I been made to feel uncomfortable? Yes. Have I been outright touched, groped, or pushed down, or done something bad to? No. And some of the people that I've heard have had god awful stories.
Yeah.
The guys that I worked with, they were just a bunch of dirty jokes. And at the same time, I know that if anybody ever came in and offended me or said something about me being a lesbian, they would have taken up. And that's been almost every shop I've worked in. I've been lucky though. I've only had 3 shops, and the third one was the one I opened.
Yeah.
So, that experience and kind of going through those bits has been wild to hear, and getting in front of all these women who are coming to Literary Inc. and getting these stories. I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, that happened. And they're like, well, yeah, more than once. And I'm just flabbergasted, but I don't know. It's
to literary though, because, the way you present yourself on Instagram and the way that you present Literary Inc., it is inclusive and safe. So, those of us in the industry who maybe haven't had such pleasant experiences, we look at what you're doing with that and go, oh, I'm going to be okay if I go there, and I'm going to be welcome, and no one's going to grope me or take weird pictures of me from upskirt angles, or, all of the kinds of things that happen at conventions. But
I'm pretty sure something like that happened. We've had a couple undercover officers at both the shows. We never told anybody. So there's always been somebody around. And I've had a lot of the people who are on the doors. They're very aware. I think I would have a big cow if anything did like that happen. It would be taken care of immediately. But it's weird. The show's a little different. I think that, most Harry Potter fans, most people who read the books, who watch the movies, who put so much time and devotion into learning more about it and then putting it into their art. The folks we invited, I found them off of Hogwarts Tattoo on Instagram. I found them off of hashtags where I was just looking and found them on Instagram, and just how many Harry Potter tattoos and wizardry tattoos have they done to see that. And when you're doing that, you also get a good look at how somebody, like you said, if you've looked at somebody's Instagram and there's 45 pages of something you don't want to read, you're not going to go back and see past 5 of those posts or whatever. But if you're like, oh my gosh, and this person is doing stuff raising money for the homeless, and oh my gosh, this person did cat donations, it's awesome to see the good in the world and do your best to pluck that out and put it all in one place for a weekend.
Absolutely. And we're very fortunate being artists and being on Instagram, where we have a platform to reach people and do good work through our art. We can do fundraisers, we can spread kindness and love, even just encourage other people to spread kindness and love. And again, that's what I found at Literary Inc., how I made more friends at that convention than I've ever made at any tattoo event ever. And they're people I still talk to a year later and will probably continue to talk to, especially the Hogwash crew.
Yeah, they're crazy. I had Chelsea on the podcast last week, and she goes, you realize that Hogwash American had all these people from overseas in it, and Hogwash London had all these people who weren't. And I was like, shit. No, I didn't. But that's a fun group to talk about. And yeah, we've been, the last few podcasts, we've had a chance to talk a little bit about all of that. So
that's so good. I'm really excited to hear what Chelsea has to say, because that girl can talk.
It was a fun one. She burnt some sage. We talked about exercise and Death Eaters. We talked a little bit about the documentary coming up, or we hinted at it. We didn't talk much about it. We hinted at it. And, we just talked about year 1 and year 2. And it being what it is. I think that's the other thing. Chelsea, from the very get-go, like before the show even opened, she goes, "You don't know what you got." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You don't know what you got." And I'm like, "Okay." I feel like this pause, it was 12 days before the show happened and it got stopped. And this pause has kind of allowed me to really take a break. Like I put it off the shelf, or I put it on the shelf. I put this box that Litter Ink was in on the shelf for a few minutes or about a month and a half, and just kind of napped and painted and just didn't think about work. And I think it was a much needed break that's allowed me to get to a really cool refocus. I cannot wait until 3 3/4, y'all. It's going to be awesome.
That must have been pretty intense. Like, we've all been affected by the COVID crisis in different ways, but you literally had to cancel an entire convention of international authors at the very last minute. That's insane.
Rub it in. Put the lemon juice on top of it, Eddy Lou. What the heck? Yeah, it was difficult. And it's funny because I've chatted with some people, and one lady was just like, it was awesome. She's like, "Could you imagine if we all had it and then one of the tattoo wizards would have died?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yes." That's so fucked up. But anyway, it was funny. I thought it was really, it was funny, but not really, in the overall sense of, I think that everything happens for a reason. And sometimes we're just meant to, especially now, like how long everybody that I've talked to has not ever taken this long in not tattooing, like as a forced break, as a normal break. And I tattoo this week. I get to tattoo this week. The day that I go back, it will literally be 60 days from the last day that I tattooed. And I've been telling everybody in the group, don't worry, we haven't forgotten what we're doing. We're going to go back. It's just like riding a bike. And I'm just excited. It's not even like I'm nervous. I'm like, I cannot wait to draw on you and tattoo you and sit there in our facial mask and all of our gloves and our bubonic plague spray. Whoosh, whoosh. It's going to be great.
It's going to be different. And like, this whole thing must have been really different for you, because I think you're one of the hardest working people I know. When I was like with you guys in Chattanooga for a week, I don't think I saw you even sit down, like at all. You're just constant. You're like a wind-up toy. You get wound up every 5 minutes or something. Yeah, and always on Instagram, painting, with your coffee, with your wife in the background doing something. You never stop. You needed this.
I need to add you to the coffee club. You'll have to. Are you a coffee drinker or more of a tea person?
Yeah, but when you're drinking coffee, I'm ready for bed.
Doesn't matter. You tag yours in at my bedtime, and we'll be like, "Look, she finally joined. We're good." The coffee club has been another thing that has been one of my favorites. I've actually made a stories on my main page, so you can watch all of them. Jessica and I've started getting a little more fun with them when we do them now. We did a TikTok of us drinking coffee the other day, and it's just a few different people that have been reposting their coffee and just saying hello to each other, and kind of, sometimes you can't text everybody that you love all the time. So if you see a little coffee text and you've been tagged in it, it's just fun.
Yeah.
But yes, during quarantine, I've painted about 27 pieces, I think. I paint fast. It's like I tattoo. I have lots of layers, so there's always about 13 pieces that are drying, and I'm swapping them out. We did one thing with I ended up painting a Bob Ross with Kitty, Conniption, and Asia, and that was a blast, to the point now where I'm like, I would love to do this with the group. Get on Zoom. There's 10 of us, and we're all painting the same Bob Ross. Okay. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was just crazy. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Mine did not look like his photo at all. And then I ended up adding the Ford from Harry Potter to it. And I'm like, I'm going to do all my Bob Rosses, and then I'm going to put my fandom shit in it just for fun. But it's been great. I haven't painted in a year and a half. So getting back to it, God, that's been probably one of the most amazing things. Me and my wife, she actually planted and did all this crazy shit for the garden, but I keep telling everybody we did a garden. She did a garden. I'm going to eat from the garden. We redid our studio. Yes, I am busy, but at the same time, I keep myself there so I don't get to some crazy ass place that I can't come out of. I did take 4 days and stayed on the couch and had 4 days of, I just can't get up. I just can't paint. I just can't podcast. But, I pulled myself out of it. We're all allowed a moment. We all need a moment. So.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing I've learned coming out of this, like that it's okay to take a moment when you need it, if you want it. There's no shame in working your ass off if that's what feels good for you, but there's no shame in doing absolutely nothing.
Exactly. And and that's something too, like I have a bigger appreciation because, you talk about being a workaholic. I am, I know you are too. But those 4 days on the couch when I just couldn't get up, I have friends who have told me I just have a hard time and I can't get up. And I'm like, but I don't understand. Just work it out. And those 4 days I was like, I get it, and I have a bigger appreciation or a better understanding of sometimes you just can't get up, and that's okay. It's do what is comfortable for you. That's what life's about, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, all of these ideas of how we have to achieve things or productivity, they're external, really got nothing to do with us. And for me personally, I'm not a religious person, so for me, life is just about finding joy in any moment and doing what feels good for you, as long as you never hurt another human or another animal, even like anything. Just be nice and friendly and don't hurt anyone.
I think that's a good way. I keep telling everybody I'm a big fan of the golden rule. My grandmother raised me up, doing to others as you'd have others do unto you. And I think until you understand that or get a true appreciation for it, I have so much more joy in trying to help out other people and doing things that just, puts a smile on somebody else's face, whether they know you did it or not. It's an amazing thing to be helpful, to just, kind of do more, because people don't do enough. I've always preached, I think the good people need to get a little gooder, and the people who weren't so great need to be better. We have a lot going on in our world, and and now even more. Like I was saying that last year, we have so much going on in our world because of things in our presidency, and we now have COVID and the bubonic plague that we've been stuck in, and it's forced us to take this break. I think it's forced us to see a lot of things about ourselves, a lot of things about our partners if you have one, or your kids. Even like I've talked to a lot of people who tattoo artists, clients, who just been like, they're different struggles and stories. We're all going through this together. We're all having our ups and downs with it, but at the end of the day, we are all getting through it. And that's the part for me where, it is encouraging. We are going to get through it. That is what our race does. We get back up and we push on through.
We're essentially glorified cockroaches. You can survive anything.
So can share. They say the apocalypse, it'll be sharing the cockroaches. I'm good with it. Shoot.
Amazing. Well, talking about the golden rule and stuff, I noticed that in your studio as well, because I got to guest there when I visited Literary Inc. And everyone at your studio is really kind and welcoming to you. And I found that even, your clients and your friends and everyone wanted to be involved. And I think because you do a lot for other people, that in turn attracts them to you, and people want to do things for you. And I've heard you talk about Amanda Palmer's The Art of Asking, and that seems to be like a really, really important part of your life in general, but especially in your work.
Yes, and I've actually sent her an email. I'm hoping one day. I've met her once before. She signed my leg, and it's tattooed on me permanently. There's a story there. We're not going to get into it today. And anyway, I'm hoping one day to, I don't know, I feel like our paths are supposed to cross with literary somehow. We'll see. But who knows? As for The Art of Asking, my aunt, ever since I've been little, you're always at a no if you don't ask. You're at a 50-50 if you do. You might get a yes. Yeah. And I think with that, if you're kind to people, if you just tell them the truth, I've only been tattooing for 10 years. I'm now 43. I got into this game a little later, and when I first started tattooing, there would be people who would come in, and I knew enough about tattoos. I had enough to know what's a good tattoo, what's not a good tattoo. And in the beginning, people would come in, they're like, well, my tattoo artist said I healed this out bad, but I'm about ready to get it covered up. And I'm kind of like, oh no, that's just a shitty tattoo. They lied to you. Just be honest with your client, be honest with who you're taking care of. And there's been people who've come in, I really want to get this. It's this part and I want it to be realistic. And I'm like, not me. But hey, Anil or Kay be happy to do that for you. You can't tattoo your whole town. And if you just do good business will come to you. Or at least that's my belief. I'm a big, the karma thing, the golden rule, live your best life as good as you can. And I think you will get your best life. And you'll also look at it a little half full, because if you don't expect anybody to repay you, or if you don't expect anybody to give you what you think you deserve, you'll be happier. Like, just live your life and do the best you can do.
Yeah, that's it. And, being honest is, I think, so crucial, especially in what we do. Like, I am always horrified at the amount of artists who lie to their customers because they want the money or they couldn't be bothered. Like, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I'm not here to take all their money and to do every tattoo. I'm just here to do the small amount of tattoos that I am comfortable doing to the best of my abilities. And then
mine still looks great. By the way, y'all, she tattoos amazingly. I mean, I know y'all know this because you're already watching her and stuff. My wife is so excited. I'm excited for my wife. This lady gets to tattoo her at 3 3/4 or right before a badass Bo Peep from Toy Story. We are so excited. She's got a cow arm here. It's gonna look so good. I mean, she's gonna be like, y'all.
I had it ready to go. I had it drawn up, ready to go like 2 or 3 weeks before I was even on my way to the US. I was so bummed out I didn't get to do it.
She's ready. I'm ready too. I told her, I was like, you let her have that whole arm. You just let her have the rest of your forearm. She's like, I'm gonna, because it's gonna look so great. She's got a lot of animals and stuff on her, and this is her black and gray arm, which you predominantly do. But I decided I'm going to get a colored piece from you one day, because you rarely do them. And they look so fly. So I want another thing to go with my other Horcrux. We'll have to just figure it out.
That was fun that we got to do a little Harry Potter tat swap.
All right. Last year was so crazy. It was just crazy. We had tripled on the numbers. We got more than we were supposed to. I went away for a cruise and came back, and we had oversold, and I was like, oh shit. It was it should have been the numbers we would have been at this year, and we would have stopped. So we're doing the same number again this year, or what would have happened, but yet again, now it's just on repeat this upcoming year. But I'm really excited to see how it's all pulled together. We've been working on new sets. We've been working on some crazy ass behind the scenes shit. It should be really, really rad. So.
For our listeners, they build entire sets. Like it's like actually stepping into the Wizard's world. It's insane.
That's been one of the best parts. That's where I was like, when I was talking about like rethinking the show, I want to really tune in on the experience while you're there. Like, we're still going to have some after party scenes and stuff, but I think really making it worth, like, you walking through, and in your cosplay, you can get a photo in front of this, and then there's the broom, and there's all these other pieces. And what Kay's talking about doing, it's insane. I can't wait to see it. I've seen little pieces of it being built. Ollivanders from last year, half of it ended up getting squished during the move. So we have some pieces of it, so it'll be kind of gone, but we've got this other new thing that's coming in, and we've got a better way of storing it. So I hope to continually add sets and pieces where when you do walk in, you're kind of like, are we here? Yes, you've stepped through magic.
I love that everyone in their cosplay too.
I know. We had a lot of tattoo artists. We had a ton of just people attending. I was really excited. The Kawaii team, they live in Knoxville, but they come up and take care of our cosplay section of the show. They're really good friends with Kitty Conniption. Kitty works in my shop, and they've just done a really good job of kind of bringing it all together and having the different events. And then one thing we did, whereas conventions are a very similar. You get, any convention, tattoos, blanket convention. You could be any convention. You have all these people there in the booth, and then you have people coming to check everything out. So the biggest thing was, what could we do to make everybody feel a little more, like you said, welcomed, or a little more, what's happening at this show? So we kind of did different things. We had a room requirement, and just, bringing in the different bits of more fun stuff, and the attendee experience. We had Hagrid's motorbike there last year, and we let people hop in and take photos. And that was like one of the biggest things that everybody was so excited about. And it was just a bike with a sidecar. I mean, it really wasn't Hagrid's bike, but we all made believe. Do what?
Oh, I was saying Gracie is like drag race, was
it? Yeah. She's got 2 photos on that bike that are just like, she got some epic photos from last year's show.
Yeah.
It was wild to see her. And that was when she was with us, because, we met her at the first show, and then I snatched her up about 4 months after the first show and started training her in Chattanooga. And she moved here. Now it feels like a year ago, but it hadn't been a full on year. Before October, August, June, I don't know. She got here, and it's been wild. I actually posted a photo of her today. I watched the documentary again today, and there at the end, you see her and Betsy and Jess Watt, and I was like, how funny. I had no idea then that girl was going to be working on our team a year later. It's crazy who you meet, how you meet folks, when you're kind of like, you should totally come and work here. It's good stuff.
She's a beautiful human.
I like to collect those.
And so when with the documentary, so that was about the first year and the start of Literary Inc. When do you think that's going to be out in the world for everyone to watch?
We have actually sold it to a company, and they're supposed to be dropping it, I believe, in October. I've seen the first poster. I've seen the first trailer. It's going through a documentary company. It's going to be, I think it'll be like on Apple, and where you can find certain things. I'm not for sure everything for sure yet, because I'm just in it. I talked to the director a little, but I'm just in it, y'all. But it is in the works. It will be coming out this year. And yes, it was actually filmed. So I met Axel first. I met Axel at the Chattanooga Film Festival in town, and he came up and he's like, I love your work. And I was like, awesome. You want to get a tattoo? And he's like, oh no. And I was like, oh, okay, but you love my work. And he's like, I like what you're doing. So he was one of those, I didn't know at the time he was a film director, and he'd looked through my Instagram and started seeing some of the things that we did with Mainline and some of the things that we do for our community. And so that's all that he was talking about. And then about 2 months later, I get this message from him, and it's like, hey, I've got a friend who wants to tattoo. Will you talk to him? And I said, I'll totally talk to him. I'm not taking on an apprentice, but I'll talk to him. I talked to him, and I was like, God dang it. It's you. So that was my first apprentice. And so then we had Literary Inc. coming up, and Axel was like, we need to do something together. And I was like, yeah, we do. I've got the show coming up. What do you want to do? And he's like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And I was like, you want to do a documentary? And he's like, of what? And I'm like, tattoos and Harry Potter. And it kind of got smushed into all this crazy stuff. And the film is more like you actually get to follow me, Ebony Mellowship, Chelsea Hamilton, and Anil through our experience of, you see me starting the show. You see Anil going to Cuba and talking to his wife who's stuck there, who's been stuck there, who's now finally here, but you don't know that in the film. You see Ebony from overseas coming over here and talking about tattooing. And then you see Chelsea from California. And it's kind of almost like you're seeing these people in this very unique state. You've got all these tattoos in the background, and literally we're filmed for like 7 days. You don't realize what it's like to have a camera in your face for 7 days. You don't think about the shit you say until you see it on an IMAX screen with all your tattoo wizardry fins sitting there going, you said that. And it's crazy. Our first year we filmed a documentary. We had a dinner the night before we opened. Our second year we rented out an IMAX, and we showed everybody that film, and we had butterbeer crunch ice cream. And what's really fucking funny too is the second year we had like that snowstorm. There were like 10 people who couldn't make it because of that crazy snowstorm that happened. And then year 3, we've got, Death Eaters coming in with COVID-19 bubonic bunny foo-foo spray plague. And we get totally bumped. So it's awesome. Death Eaters be damned. Everybody needs to be pulling out their charms and shit.
Right. Dumbledore's army's got this. We got this. Get our patrons out.
I hope so. It's time. We got to make a comeback.
I loved when we did the kind of the preview of the documentary in year 2, there was a moment where Chelsea made this, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was this awesome feminist statement. And I was like, yeah, and I'm like clapping. And I could hear all the women around me just like clapping and be like, yeah, Chelsea. And then all of the like, I guess not all of them, but some of the boys just went completely silent because she just the industry the fuck out. It's so great.
It was a very bold statement. I remember when she said it, I looked at her and we're filming. I was there when it happened. And at the end of it, I was like, are you okay with saying that? And she's like, somebody has to. And I was like, you have balls. Yeah, you're right. She basically, she called out a lot of male tattooers who, you're touching people you shouldn't be, and if you're trying to get them in touch with you, they shouldn't be. And she kind of landed on it. And like I said, a lot of things have happened with the Me Too stuff. Tattoo artists, everything is kind of coming to light now because of just all industries.
Yeah.
Everything is becoming hyper aware of what's going on. And I think it's because you have so many women that are using their voice now, and it's not about being silenced anymore. It's about, I've got 2 sisters over here. We've got this.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for the Me Too movement and how much it has had a positive impact on the tattoo community.
Definitely. I mean, like you said, and a lot of the folks I've talked to, a lot of the ladies I've talked to as well, about Literary Inc. and all of them saying that there's so many women here. I didn't even think about it. I didn't realize it. And when you start seeing it hitting you in the face, it's kind of like, whether you know what you got or not, now it's time to talk about it. And it's something I've actually, most of the ladies on the Literary Inc. podcast, I've been like, this is a big deal. And it still gets me because you just don't think, oh my gosh, we are 20% of our industry. Not at this show.
Yeah.
At this show, we're like 70 to 80% full on. And it is an amazing thing. And, when Danny and I were looking for somebody, and we put out that we were hiring, I think 90%, 80% of our applicants that were wanting to come and tattoo with us were women. And he's like, Jennifer, everybody feels safe here. And I was just like, you just don't think about it, but that's an amazing thing to point out. Because, the first thing, if anybody were to do anything weird to any artist at Mainline, oh Lord, you can get out, we're going to call the cops. That's not going to happen here. It's not what it's about. We are artists that instead of putting anything on canvas, we're choosing to put it on people. And I want every client to feel comfortable, from, females, males, them, they, whoever is in the chair, males, just whoever is in the chair, you should feel comfortable. You're paying a lot of money. If you go and talk to somebody and your artist is just being rude to you, don't let them tattoo you. Walk out, find somebody who makes you feel comfortable. This is your body for forever. And it is worth the extra $500 or $600. Like, it's worth it. Look at your phone. You drop $1,200 on your phone. Think about doing that for a forearm. You'll end up with a beautiful masterpiece.
Absolutely. I'm always really interested by how people devalue art and tattooing. Like, I've had somebody wearing a $600 pair of shoes say to me that a $400 tattoo was too expensive, and I was just like, bitch, please, like, dollar per use. You wear this tattoo every day for the rest of your life. There is no better value for money. And aside from that, it's something empowering that you are making a choice to change your body in your image and become more of who you want to be through art. It's fucking powerful.
I think that's one of the best parts of our job. Also, getting those personal relationships. Like when we were talking a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, and I was talking about hugging, it was the quote they pulled out. They were like, and I was like, what are we supposed to do? Stop hugging. And your comment was like, no, you can't. That's what we do. Seeing all those pieces fall through and together right now, and seeing how people are changing and how they do open up to tattoo artists. And people joke, well, you're like a therapist. Well, yeah, you're in a lot of extreme pain. Here I am. And you are touching them. You're holding the back of their arms so you can tattoo the top of it. And it's a memorial piece, and it's about their grandmother, and they're telling you the story. Like, it's an emotional thing. And if you find the right artist, you stick with them. I have 2 or 3 that I have constantly gotten tattooed by because it's an enjoyable experience. I feel very comfortable in their chair. I've been wanting to get stuff done on my back. I had Jonathan do the big piece from Literary Ink Year 1, and I'm going to add an additional piece to it. And, feeling comfortable with somebody I'm going to have to get more naked that time to make sure that, this is all taken care of. It's a big thing to make sure that you feel comfortable, whether a guy's tattooing you, a female's tattooing you, that you are comfy in that chair and you are walking away with that product that, I looked at your book and 45 pages in, I knew that everything you did was great for me. I think that's also shifting. Whereas, the people who are spending more money now, they get that whole, it is a lifetime. It's not just whatever. And the people who aren't, in 10 more years, when they're still wearing those expensive shoes and they see that their arm's shitty, they'll go and get it covered up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, I can't really gatekeep tattooing and tell you what a good or bad tattoo is, but I am very passionate about picking the right artist for you and getting a good quality tattoo and that it's worth the wait. Absolutely.
I think that's part of the fun too, because now it's, I get tattooed by Find Your Smile, and I've gotten tattooed by Betsy Wetz on it's like at both of those, but Betsy Butler in Charleston, and I chomp at the bit where I'm like, have your books opened back up yet? Because with my schedule, I book out this many months, and I'm trying to wait for her schedule to open up to make sure I can get that one date so I can go down there, but it's part of the game. I know I'm going to get my tattoo at some point. I'll wait. She's got this one particular arm I'm having to work on, so I can call this other person, or, hey, Anil, today's the day. He started working on me too. So I'm just like, hey, I'm going to see you once a month for 2 hours. Let's just kind of knock this stuff out. So
Anil's your apprentice as well, isn't he?
Not anymore. Yeah, he's been signed off, and so's Gracie, both of them. I've got 2 apprentices which have been signed off, and they're still working with me. Is that not just the craziest shit you've ever heard? Apprentices leave everybody. I don't know what people are doing wrong. I'm very blessed. I have 2 very amazing apprentices, but yes, Anil is the first one. He's been with us now, I think, a little over 3 years. He's kicking the tattoo game's ass, man. He came in and he picked up very quickly. He's got an education from Cuba. He taught at university in Cuba. He paints insanely. If you've been watching his stories on Instagram, this whole time we've been in quarantine, he's painted about 15 dogs. And they just, every 3 days, you see his new painting. He's working on a cosplay right now of this guy in cosplay. I cannot wait to see it. It looks like some warrior from some crazy ass Xbox game, like God of War. It is insane, or Viking something. I was like, oh my God. And he goes, I know it. It's so big. It's like, I get to do some massive work. And I'm like, oh Jesus, that's great, buddy. But it's really awesome. And to see that, to be blessed with that, to have a friendship out of something when, most apprentice situations, they turn out horrible and people leave. They always leave. And I think a lot of that comes down to the person who is training them does not just, it's a respect factor, back to the golden rule. You don't have to go wash my car, go wash my clothes. That's not training them to be a tattoo artist. That's, grunt work. I did more things like, I properly asked him how to clean out my car. I'm just kidding. I never asked him to do anything, though. One day he went and he cleaned out my car. I thought that was the sweetest thing ever. He's like, I cleaned out your car. And I said, because I've made jokes about it. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, that's so awesome. But, we did more fun things. I took him, one of my favorite memories is, I took him to his first show. It was before the first Literary Ink. It's a smaller show. It was about the size of what we did for first year, and it's in Nashville. It's called Full Moon Tattoo Horror Fest, and they bring in people from the movies, and they have just different kind of fun things there, and there were about 30 booths. And the second day we go in, no wait, it's the first day. The first day we go in, I ended up winning Tattoo of the Day, first place, and the second day he won Tattoo of the Day, second place, and I was just like, this is happening. And it was and he's still a tattoo baby. He was a month away from being signed off. So he was even there as an apprentice. Yeah, it was great. I was just like, I'm so proud of you. We both cried on the way home. We're just a big bunch of babies. But it was one of those moments where, you start realizing everything that led up to him getting to the United States, if you want to believe in this weird voodoo shit, which I kind of do sometimes, and everything that led me to say we weren't going to do an apprentice. Danny and I were even talking about it because we jointly share them. I want everybody to learn as much as they can, and we're both like, you know, doing our best to teach, but just it's amazing to find a friendship within it and know that it's not going to go anywhere, whether he chooses to venture off and do his own thing one day or whether he chooses to stay with mainline and we just continue to build, which I hope is the case. It's really wild to meet those folks and know that you're just supposed to make a little extra room in your heart. Did that with Gracie too. You know, there's people that are coming into my road from Literary Inc. and from mainline that just, these people are meant to be around you. Y'all are all meant to grow together and do things, you know, good to the world.
Yeah. It's funny how it can just like, it just kind of ends up with the right people. Like I had no intention of ever taking on an apprentice. I was always like, I'll never do an apprenticeship. There's enough of us around. And then I'd been tattooing Alana for a while, and like she always talked about how much she wanted to be a tattooer, and I'd never met anyone who so desperately and passionately wanted to do it and genuinely did the research and put the effort in to get there. And then I was just like, you know what? I've never met anyone who deserves it more. So, you know, hey, Alana, come on in. And it's really funny. I take the responsibility so seriously. Like I kind of was writing up lessons and the curriculum. I was like, I need to do everything right by this girl to make sure that she has the best experience possible. But she doesn't even need that. She's so good at self-guiding that all I need to do is just be there for her and just offer support, and it all comes really naturally.
Has it opened you up as an artist? Have you gotten better because of it?
Definitely, because I have to think more about my process. Like the way I tattoo was always felt a bit like a happy accident. Like I just kind of, I'm very technical, but I've never really thought about.
You are so technical.
What I do, you know, but now I'm actually having to break it down into steps and like how I do things, the timing, the rhythm, the depth, the speed, everything, every little aspect of it, you know, why I use a particular machine and what is it about the makeup of that machine that affects, you know, the way I pull this line and everything, like really breaking down every last little bit of what I do and then having to explain it to someone else and help them understand it. It's been amazing, actually.
I feel like training him and teaching him and going to Explorer turned me 180. Like there was a twist. It was because you do have to slow down. And it's funny because I was saying something when I was like, well, you got to do it like this, but I do it like this. And he goes, why? And I said, because that's just the way I do it. And then he left and I looked and I was like, oh shit, why? And so me pulling back, like my aspiration got better, my line work got stronger, because sometimes you get into you're in your rhythm and you're like da 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 da, when it's like wait, da 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 da, and there it is. That's been those pieces of learning that you just don't expect to get, and I don't think you're going to find it unless you choose to train somebody, and that's a big thing in itself. I wasn't supposed to have another one. Gracie was already half trained, but the person that was training her wasn't going to finish it. And, you know, it was one of those moments where I'm like, you're lost, dumbass. Like, you know, boom, you got to snatch that up. That's insane. If you have someone that's good and you have someone that's trying and they just need more guidance, or like you said, just being there for somebody who really wants it, that's about all you need.
Absolutely. And I mean, it makes for a better future in tattooing. I think, you know, I used to be a bit of a gatekeeper and like, you know, there's enough of us, we don't need any more. And then I realized, oh wait, if I'm sitting here saying, no, we don't need any more, the only kinds of people who are going to be coming into tattooing are people who are self-taught, which, you know, like I had a bad apprenticeship where I basically had to teach myself, and I had limitations that have taken years and years to overcome. So that's not the best way to do it, for me, in my opinion. For me personally. And then, you know, a lot of studios in my local area that were taking on apprentices, they were just looking for cheap labor. Like they weren't in a position to train or educate someone. So when I've got a studio full of really skilled artists and we've got something to offer, it's almost like we have a responsibility to ensure the next generation of tattooers have not only come through it without any of the abuse we experience, but to be like highly technical, highly knowledgeable, and highly respectful of our tradition.
I think that's a big thing with a lot moving forward. Watching the Explorer conferences happening, watching what's happening out of other folks who are doing seminars and putting them up, and seeing that, the education game, it is being turned up. The things that, even hearing some of the stuff from our government, what they're wanting to talk about possibly bringing in. We have like the Coalition for Tattooing now, and they're looking into these laws, and they're doing their best to go and talk to these people to say, you do not know what we're doing. We are actually like, really clean. We are trained every year to be able to handle this stuff. Bloodborne pathogens, we're trained to do that. Like when people have shut down because of quarantine, the whole time Danny and I have been constantly researching. I have a friend who she works through UTC, but she's also working with Erlanger, and like I was getting, can you give me as much information? Can you explain this to me in layman's terms where I know what's going on, so that when we go back, we know what we're doing. Yeah. We were allowed to go back the 6th of this month, and the rules and regulations they set aside, we felt as though wasn't enough. So we added stuff. We're like, to keep us safe, we're going to do this, this, and this. We're following their guidelines, but we've added a couple extra because we are as close to you, because we are opening skin. I think that moving forward, a lot of places are going to have to tune it in and turn it up, because this is not going to be the same world when we come back. We're probably going to either always have to wear a mask, or wear them for a really long time. And I hate wearing them, but I wear them every time I go out now. I'm safety first.
Yeah. Well, and, I think a lot of tattooers have been getting angry about the shutdown, because they're scared, obviously, it's coming from a place of fear, but they're saying, we know about bloodborne pathogens, so we know how to keep safe, but this is an entirely different thing. So we do have the responsibility, like you've done.
Yeah, it's airborne. It's just flat out scary. One of my favorite memes that I've seen has been the wearing your mask compared to pee-pee on your pants. Have you seen that yet? No. I'm going to send it to you. It's like, here, let me explain. If somebody pees on you and they're not wearing pants, it goes on you. But if you're wearing pants, it kind of stops it. Oh, if y'all are both wearing pants, I was dying. I was dying. It's a little stick figure meme, and it's, so if you both wear pants and he pee-pees just on himself. I was like, but I mean, it's a really good analogy of, hey, this is what's going on, folks. This is why we want you to wear a mask.
It is, definitely. And it's like, there's a lot we can do to ensure the safety of our clients, because I guess it's not just about us and our need to pay our bills. It's about our client and then them going home to their family and making sure that we do our bit to keep the community safe.
I agree. And I think that's what a lot of tattooers are doing right now. I mean, that concern is there for everybody. And I think you're right. A lot of fear. We don't know what's going on. I saw a gentleman post something the other day where he was talking about, I see all these people who are on the front lines and they're saying we're supposed to be scared. And then I see all these people protesting who are not, who are also on the front lines and no mask. And they're saying that this is fake. What am I supposed to believe? We have so much shit going on in every direction, and we had all this stuff on the media, and they're slowly pulling it away. I mean, the United States is opening back up, and people are still dying. And I think that a lot of things are going to shift. We're probably not going to be seeing concerts for a few more months, if not several more months. We're not going to have a lot of people getting together for a long period of time. And had it been, I think we as soon as we closed down Literary Inc., our shop closed, and we had 2 weeks. And that's when I think, had everybody just shut down then, we would have been even getting back a little sooner. But New Zealand, out of everybody from what I've seen, has been one of the most, we're locking this shit down, y'all, we have 5 whole cases now. It's been crazy to see, but they did it so early. They were like so ahead of the curve. They saw this shit coming. They're like, we got you, bud. And I think they just opened back up like a couple things like today or yesterday. but it's just moving forward, everybody keeping knowledgeable. And I think tattoo shops are going to have to, like I said, tune in and turn it up. Like, it's changing out there, and I want to do the best job I can to keep my clients safe, and me too. I mean, I come home to people, so it's
And
important we're all not,
like
dying of
health
the
insurance
plague.
or sick pay, so we
Yep.
have to look after ourselves.
It's hard because you've got folks who have kids and they might not have had as much savings. That's the part where it's really scary. On a side note, I have seen so many tattoo artist Instagrams turn into, I made this, I painted this, I'm taking commissions, I'm doing this, I went back to doing this. And it's been amazing to see the creativity still pop through. I mean, you're trying a podcast. You're like, I want to see what this does. I think I'm going to enjoy this. And I tried a podcast because I didn't know either. I was just like, we have all these people here. We've got to talk to them because that's what I do. I talk, y'all. And it's that part. And it's just kind of venturing out. I told my wife, I was like, I took guitar lessons 20 years ago. I still have the guitar. It's an amazing guitar. Oh my gosh, it's an ovation. It's gorgeous. She's red. I call her the redheaded bitch. And I start guitar lessons next week. Because we need to, I wanted to do something artistic that's not painting, that's not tattooing, or just not tattooing, something else that I'm sitting down 35 minutes to learn and just be more.
Really helpful doing that, I think, because from what I understand about the way our mind works, when we do become really one track, it really limits our brain. And as we get older, like, we're not learning new things. I think, it has the potential to stunt our growth as humans. So having like lots of things and lots of directions and really like expanding and pushing your mind, it really benefits your life and your experience as a whole.
I agree with you completely. When we were on the podcast did my wife come in as the stormtrooper for you? Did that happen?
I think I've seen pictures on Instagram of that though.
She just sent me this as the stormtrooper helmets at work. So apparently it was going to happen. There we go. Okay. We have a stormtrooper helmet, and it seems to be making appearances everywhere. When Anil and I went to Tattoo the Lou last year, I brought it, and he goes, "What is that for?" And I said, "Stormtrooper icebreaker." And he's like, "Okay." We took photos with everybody in the mask. We're being idiots. It was awesome. At what point in your age are you supposed to stress more about being cool than just having fun? We as kids, I got to be cool. I got to look cool. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm just like, but it's so much more fun just to go ahead and be a little stupid. It's just, having that fun, stupid humor, just laughing. Why couldn't Snape teach herbology? Because he couldn't even keep a lily alive. There's so many things there. It's awful. Have you not heard that one? It's wrong. Wrong.
Oh, shit.
Nope, yeah, that's awesome.
Like, I feel awkward laughing at that.
I know it's so bad, but you're like, it's true. The first time I heard it, I was like, too soon. Oh, but it's true.
Amazing. Sorry. Okay, well, I guess we've covered a lot of things today.
Hey. Wait, are we supposed to finally start recording? No.
Well, before we finish up, is there anything like you wanted to add or you wanted to share with our listeners?
Guys, be sure to tune in. We're going to be announcing the date soon for Literary Inc. 3 3/4. It will be in 2021. We decided to push it off far enough to make sure our lovely people from overseas get to come and we all have a chance to recoup from the incredibly insane pause that the world has put upon us. I hope that everyone out there is being good to each other and washing your hands. Thank you again for being on, letting me be on the show. This has been awesome. Maybe we can talk to the boys and we can swap up episodes and share them on our podcast together. if you want to. I think that'd be kind of fun.
We'll be putting the footage up on YouTube. So for our listeners, if you head over to Instagram and follow us on notjustagirl_tattoo, you'll be able to find regular updates and where to find everything. I'll put all the details for Jen, for Literary Ink, for Mainline in the show notes, and anything else you need to know. So make sure you subscribe, follow and share, and follow and share Literary Ink as well, just to spread the love of tattooing. Thanks so much, Jen, for your time, and
Welcome.
thank you to our listeners for taking the time. We really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay safe. And as Jen said, wash your hands, wash your damn hands. Bloody hell!
Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. I want to be able to stay tattooing. I want to have a show next year.
Yes. I want to start again.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.